Bit about my background in terms of when I started out as a woman entrepreneur. I think very early in life, when I was probably in class 8, class 10 in school, is when I kind of had made up my mind that there are two things that I had made up my mind on. One was that I was definitely going to go into the creative field, and the other was that I'm definitely going to be working for myself. And this wasn't taken very well by my father, who was in the Air Force, who kind of figured that the best thing his children could do was probably English honors and then get into the civil services. And that was probably the highest or the best that he could think for us. He did manage to bully one of his children into the civil services, so that kind of helped cool him down a little bit. So getting back to my story, when I finished school, I wanted to go to the College of Art. I wanted to get into College of Art, and I wanted to get into the field of advertising. There was a lot of resistance from my father there again, because he thought that's just not the right field to get into. But then I figured I'd be able to convince him, convince my mother, and then finally went and got into College of Art. Did very well there, lived my dream in terms of the creative stuff that I really wanted to do. Is there an echo in this? I can hear it. Okay. So anyway, the first company that I started was in 1986. So probably a lot of you guys weren't even born that time, right? 1986, I was 18 years old, and one of the things that motivated me that time was that I just wanted to make my own money. More than anything else, I felt that need to just basically get cracking and start to make some money of my own, because I thought if I have my own money, I can spend it my own way. I will never have to go to my parents and ask them for money and figure that I need to explain any expense that I make. I would just be able to go do whatever I did. The other thing that motivated me was the passion for being able to create stuff that I wanted to create. So I remember doing all sorts of odd jobs. I remember even painting little matkis for somebody's daughter's wedding, because they wanted to serve the dahi or the the kheer or something in that. And I remember sitting up all night and painting all of those so that those guys could have those. And I remember selling them at some 1.5 rupees each at that point in time. I finished college in 1991. I got married in I finished college in 1990, got married in 91, and that too with a lot of difficulty, because I was very keen on getting married and kick-starting my life, but my father thought it wasn't such a good idea because my husband was my classmate. So, so the two of us were basically these two rookies out of college who weren't making a lot of money, and I had to bully not just my parents but also my husband to marry me. So anyway, I bullied him into marrying me, and I said, you know what, the moment we get married, the good news is we can probably work 16 hours a day without me having to report back to the Fauji at home at 5 o'clock in the evening. So the idea was to basically be able to put in those 16 hours, 18 hours. That is the time of my life when I was so young that I knew that I can just work 18 hours a day if I had to. It did not matter if I didn't get sleep. There was plenty of years ahead to sleep, to rest, all of that. But those were the years where I felt I just wanted to kickstart my life. Just get started, get onto the bandwagon and roll out and start working on things that I really wanted to work on. So we started an advertising agency. We started very small. When we started in 1986 in college, we started with a budget of 500 rupees, which was actually an advance payment for a job that we were doing for a jeweler in Sector 17. And we were very thrilled because we took that 500 rupees. There was no one single note for 500 rupees, mind you, that time. So there were 500 rupee notes. And we took them to the bank and we deposited it and we opened our current account, and we were very thrilled about the fact that we've actually managed to kickstart a business. So we got into advertising, took it from there. Like the other panelists said, there are challenges, there are opportunities, there are risks, there are heartbreaks, there is euphoria, there is a lot of joy in getting that first order, there is a lot of joy in getting the order which is larger than the previous order that you got, there is a lot of joy in being self-employed, being able to work at your own pace, being able to work when you want to work, and more than anything else, knowing that every bit of hard work that you're putting in at that point in time is for you, yourself. Everything that you're doing is affecting only one bottom line, which is yours. This is not to say that when you're working in a job, it does not have an impact on the bottom line of yourself. It does. But knowing that you are self-employed and you are going to be able to make mistakes without anybody, ruining your motivation or ruining your self-confidence at the point where you've made mistakes is a big thing. Always knowing that these mistakes are going to cost me directly is a very big thing. Knowing that I can only afford to make a mistake once and I cannot repeat that mistake again is a big thing. These are things that happen in entrepreneurship. You have to be very, very careful because the money that you're dealing with is your own. The time is your own, the opportunities are your own, the risks are absolutely your own. So, like I said, advertising is what we were doing at that point in time. In 1996, the internet came into India. We decided the internet is going to be a very, very big field to get into, and we decided to move into the field of web design and search engine optimization. Today we run a company of roughly 120 people who are as much a part and parcel of what we do as such. And these are the people who today are so highly entwined in what we are doing, because I think one of the biggest things, if I cut from that point to this point, I think one of the biggest things that have been satisfying as an entrepreneur is the fact that you not just develop your own leadership skills over a period of time, but you also work towards building more leaders. You work very hard towards generating people who also understand and take on what you started, and they are able to understand the mind frame or the spirit behind the management, and whatever we think of actually manages to percolate down to people who are working for you. So satisfaction wise, I think today what gives me a lot of satisfaction is the fact that I have also managed to create mini businesses within the business that I run, and have been able to empower people who are working for me, and have been able to actually tell them and show them the spirit behind running that section of the business as their own. That's a big thing that's happened. Challenges, like I said, have been there. The important thing is to be able to really convert a negative spiral into a positive spiral. It's very easy to let things drag you down, but let me tell you, it's as easy to snap out of them if you really want to. It's all in the mind. Eventually, you should be able to draw the strength to overcome a challenge from within yourself. Do not look for strength outside. I think the amount of strength an individual needs lies within. That's the most important thing for an individual to be able to take the next step going forward. Balancing work